It is 7 o'clock and I'm calling the meeting to order. B is citizen comments. Do not have any citizens.
Good. I just want to introduce Gerardia Tureen. She's our deputy city manager. And she's a guest of us this evening. I didn't get a chance to introduce her earlier, so.
Nice to meet you. So no citizen comments. All right, let's move now to our agenda items with C1. Consider approval for the minutes from our August 1st, 2024 meeting and take appropriate action. Those were emailed to you in advance, but if you need to read them over again, they are in your packet. Are you getting this? My packet was just getting out of it.
I thought it was printed front and back.
Do I have a motion? Okay.
I'll move we accept the minutes.
Okay. Lee moves to approve the minutes.
A second.
Stacy seconds. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, item C2 trustee report. Lee, what interesting stories have you found for us about libraries?
Well, I thought I found a cool grant for a bookmobile, but then it's only regional in the east and west coast. So anyway, looking for money along the way that popped up. But I have one fun one from, I stuck with some local things. I didn't know that the Dallas Library has what they call the book bike. And that started in the spring and it was funded by some of the Deep Ellum folks. And it's like a bike with this little van on it that you pedal around, and they use it for festivals and events or at the farmer's market. And it has 100 books, about 5 laptops. It has a Wi-Fi hotspot. And then it has a library staff. You got anybody in good shape? And library staff pedals it around and at these festivals, and you can get your library card. You know, it's a outreach kind of thing, but it's a lower dollar than a bookmobile
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know that it would fit in Farmers Branch because we do have a lot of festivals. So. But I thought that was kind of interesting. You can just Google Dallas Book Bike. And it just started in April. And I think their first thing they went to was Farmers Market. Then another local thing, I've been following the Skillman Southwestern Library closing that the Dallas City Council closing. That's a friends that live over there too, but following the stories, it on the surface appears it's resolved, but it really isn't because the city still has to work through the budget. But the local city council representative, instead of evidently found some funds that could be used to keep it open. But the things that I felt might be interesting to this board were just the groundswell of community support that was there for keeping the library open. And that just spoke to me about how our community outreach is really important, and that we someday, I hope someone out there forms a Friends of the Library so that we have a more organized community support for this library. The other thing was the importance of the data that Heather keeps, because the city was using that actually maybe to close it, but then on a second look, it looked better than some of the other branches. And so that communication to the city of the usage, the number of books, the traffic, and I know y'all keep up with that and report that on. Just seemed, so the two important things like maybe for this board to think about are that whole continuing to develop community support for the library, and then the importance of communicating the data about the usage for the library. And it's still not resolved, but I think the community members feel like there's promise. But then the burden's going to be on them to make the library more viable than the city thinks it is at this point in time. And the last one is from an international group that Heather maybe, it's called DTech. It's an international technology group that has, their mission is to serve public organizations, mainly libraries, and they do university libraries too, internationally, to keep them up with trends that they should be considering. And they had this article that was like 5 trends that are shaping libraries. And I'm not going to dwell on them, but two of them we're like rock stars on, I think. One was the whole digital collection and the ability to check out things and access databases. The other was real interesting in the article, it said community outreach. And it was like some libraries are starting ESL classes in foreign languages. And I started thinking about all the classes we have available to people in the community, and that's, you know, like the citizenship, we have just the writing that I participate in, just lots of different things. But evidently that's not the case necessarily in a lot of libraries. And so they were really saying that's a trend that needs to be watched and promoted. One was sustainability, and being a city person, I don't really think I know what our green mission is at the library, but they were talking about libraries that had solar panels, and they were investigating different kinds of lighting and heating and cooling that were more green. And the other thing was they had programming. They watched their programming to be sure that it promoted sustainability with both children's programs and adult programs. And they did have something about the sound management, which I know has been an issue that the board is discussed. And they talked about sustainability for the sound management, the children's area. It's here. So that was one. Another was AI, more for the libraries use, like for using chat GPT for your staff to streamline their operations. And it even talked about where they're having more statewide book bans that the libraries can access, make sure their collection is in line with, by using chat GPT, you know, that you can run your database against whatever the state's going crazy about, to make sure that you're in compliance with that kind of thing. And then just other kind of, it was more for staff management, automation of processes that you have, and things like that. And the last one was real intriguing to me. Number 5 was more in the UK because it's an international group, but it talked about they're starting to help educate the community about fake news and how, I know we've had some workshops on fraud for, you know, how to spot fraud emails and phishing emails. But this was more about how to really do critical digging into the sources behind things that are in the news, and doing workshops for the community about how to spot things that are fake. And that, so I didn't know whether that was anything that y'all in your library world have talked about, but that was intriguing. It was like in Sussex, in the area in the UK, but they're offering a lot of community support for people that want to weed out what's real and what's not.
So I will say that libraries have been doing fake news trend for about 15 years now.
Mhm.
It has been something that most libraries will do a workshop on here and there, and we keep resourcing about that, about how to make sure that the sources you are looking at are legitimate sources and find out where that data comes. That is something long-term that libraries have been working towards.
Good. Well, those were the 5 trends. So those are my little spiels for you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Lee. All right. D3 is patron feedback. There's not any through the normal channels, through the survey for you to review, but we're just leaving it on there in case. Sometimes if you're on Farmers Branch Moms on Facebook, things will pop up and you can bring those here. Or if somebody, your neighbor has said, hey, you're on the library board, what can you do about X, Y, Z? So if anybody's heard anything from anyone or seen anything out in the wild, so to speak, feel free to share that now.
Well, my husband was on Nextdoor, and there was somebody going on and on about that we needed to just do away with the children's section. Totally.
All right.
And he was like,
Because it was too
it
loud.
was, yeah, it's about the noise.
Mhm.
And, but it went on and on and on, this thing. And of course, there were all kinds of pushback comments, you know, like, so we're gonna not let the kids read, you know. But anyway, there's, it was just one person, but I just thought we got, and we
But
heard
it's
little,
helpful. We've heard that before.
Mhm.
And the more times that we
I mean, we need to
hear
be
it
sensitive to
and
it.
right, and then we record that we've heard it, it helps our case to for the city to do something about the soundproofing.
Without going to the extreme of shutting down the entirety of the children.
Right, because that's not
That's not
that's not a thing we can do. Any other things you've heard or read? Seen?
I did have a question
Yes.
at my other board meeting that if somebody's lost their library card, how do they go about replacing it?
We charge $1.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
They can pull you up. One of my children lost their library card.
I
And
think this
she-
person, which is why I didn't say it was, they actually want one of the new library cards. She said, maybe I'll just report mine is missing and I can get a new one.
They don't need to, they can just let us know they would like the new design, and we'll do the same process.
Okay,
It's still a dog.
it's still $1, but they heard that we had new cards and they were very excited about it and they want a new card.
They're real cute. Yeah.
Of course,
We chose that. Yes, we did. We did. That was our.
It's
choice.
one of our good meetings.
Yes. All right. Anything else? Okay. So if you will turn and we'll move on to C4, turn in your packet to the art inventory. And then the goal here is not where will this go? The goal here is what would we like to see brought out? Like what do, keep or not keep is kind of the idea here. So, yes, absolutely. You may make a suggestion.
These are labeled
Maybe,
A through Y, and then it goes into extra sections.
yes,
And I suggest that we break this up into conversation pieces during this meeting.
Yeah.
But that way we only are not going all over the place.
yeah.
Maybe since there's 26 letters in the alphabet, there's A through Y.
Mhm.
We can break it into maybe 3, maybe 4 pieces.
Yeah. Sounds great. You were thinking like A,
So that
Can you
would
like
be
A through
maybe
E?
A through E first.
Yeah.
And everybody take a few minutes to look them over and.
do a picture study.
Well,
What's your question, Zach?
How many, if I get like a bunch of really great ones that I love all of them, or if I get a section that's, I'm like, they're all kind of. But would you recommend like ranking, or would you like?
No, I think my suggestion would be maybe a read out, read in process,
Okay.
Yeah,
right? Like we look at these first.
let's look at
5.
these 5 and then like
And
what stands out to you as not, I don't want to be like worthy or worthwhile, but like what stands out to you as, hey, this should really go back on the wall.
We feel that this is an appropriate piece to.
Yeah.
Or not.
Is it gonna be, are they thinking permanent display or rotating display or?
I think
Maybe
permanent.
4 pieces in 2 stories. And this size, I would imagine.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if we wanted
No, I
to do
was-
like a rotating and.
No, I think
My thought would be
permanent.
I have one question.
Yeah.
What would happen to the discarded?
to be determined.
kind of
Yeah.
figure out what it is they are. I mean, I don't necessarily know if we throw them away. We just kind of keep them stored somewhere. And
Cat out.
Yes.
we would have record of what we
I
have.
mean, I think we could also turn them over to arts and culture, and if they felt there was another place
Yeah.
in the city that they could be
That's what I was
used.
wondering, if they couldn't be
Fire
involved in.
department.
Yeah.
Fire
Firemen need art too.
That's right.
So yeah, so just A through E, those first two pages. If there is something that kind of sticks out to you as, this is really cool.
Yeah, we can stick to 2 minutes to self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Drink that, way over there.
Oh, sure enough. I was wondering who did that.
I was like, where did my drink go? I was like,
I did not, would never, would never.
There's something that kind of appeals to me about the photograph,
I agree.
you know,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
That's the one that kind of stands out to me.
I mean, that it feels
There-
somewhat historic or
Yeah.
something, you know,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, there are several things about, several items with the library.
Yes, there were.
They can be kind of put together in a group, I think, and decide which one or ones should go somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think of this like March Madness. We've got like a bracket, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna not to one champion, but
well, yeah, we're not a.
take them in chunks, and not necessarily everything has to go, but I think it's or right. Just kind of what stands out to you in these. I think a lot of people like D. Are there any others, A through E, that really just kind of,
So my thought process that I alluded to earlier, when I first reviewed these,
Mhm.
I noticed some things that really stuck out. Were words like store-bought, donation, city commission. To me, store-bought is not nearly as important to have shown in a city library
Agree.
as these other items.
Agree. And I noticed the same thing when I was looking at a lot of them too, was donated by or city commissioned, and Karen works and has done a lot of art, all the painted tables. She did those as well. So, but yeah, so I agree that like D and E are worthy of kind of keeping in consideration because they were donated, city commissioned art, those kinds of things. And I agree with the store-bought ones.
They're the bottom one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on A as B and C?
I
fall
like,
into
I
that?
like A as a piece of art. It's kind of medium size for the things that are here, and it's not
Yes.
really brightly colored, so
Mm-mm.
if it went somewhere, probably with a group of similar items like the Blue Bonnet stuff.
Yes, yeah.
It very well could. What it looks like, it almost looks like there's a little creek down at the very bottom of that
Mhm.
tree.
The house.
It could very well go out where the view of the,
Of the pond is. Mhm.
So this is a, or yeah,
I
we'll
would say
keep
that
it.
is a, yes.
Keep it. All right. Let's move on to like the next collection of 5. So we've got F, G, H, I, J. And J is a handmade quilt that is large. And it was too heavy to take a picture of. Is it titled Branching Out? Is that's what it looks like the title of it is. My mother-in-law's a quilter and names her quilts, so. It looks like that.
They
might be
could have
what it
been the
is.
quilt pattern too.
So.
Yeah. Or do you know
the
anything
Perch
about it?
Quilted it,
Mhm.
made with loving stitches by Thuringer. It's also the sponsor of our Branching Out program, which is where we mail book. Check out books to seniors who can't come to the library by mailing them to them. She
Okay,
is the sponsor, the original sponsor of that. program.
okay.
And she's Mayor Blair's widow.
Oh, okay.
Has anybody who's here seen this? I mean, is it a brightly colored item?
I might be able to find a staff member who was here and can describe it if
I
you'd like.
can't remember because it used to be by the elevator though.
Oh,
believe it is pale in color,
Uh-huh,
like pale blues and pinks.
uh-huh.
It's just
It may
the one
have
you can
faded.
move stuff.
Yes.
It is facing the wall.
This was a page when I was looking at these that I was kind of like, I can see reasons to keep all of them.
I really like. Is this on the back though? All of this?
Yes.
Okay.
What's on the back side of the art?
The
So,
detailed information, yes, that is on the.
because this is pretty cool to
Yes.
history that
Yeah.
I'd love to see, but I don't know how. I mean, unless we put it on that glass somehow, and we could see the front and the back. But
Oh,
You could call out like, we could take a picture or something and then mount it next to the art or something.
Yeah.
like-
yeah, like a label, you know, or something. Like, there's probably a way to,
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
But yeah.
similar to how you would probably display.
In a gallery,
G
kinda.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
I'll-
Yeah,
The I, letter I,
yes,
is by the same artist as E that we were discussing earlier.
yes.
It's not quite as big and it's not just like a fall painting. It's
Uh-huh.
more, general.
Yes.
Stream. So if we were trying to choose between those, I kind of like this one with the
Mhm.
water.
Yeah. I don't have any like no-goes on this.
Yeah,
these two
I
pages.
really don't know.
I think for me, it would come down to the space.
Yeah.
That where can we put them? Which may be what happened is we're kind of now thinking about which ones do we want to put back on the walls?
Mhm.
And then we'll have it next month. What are those walls or 2 months to keep the meetings not like forever and a day long? Like then what walls, what are those walls where we're putting these things?
These are the candidates.
These are the candidates to go back and then, what do we want to keep and not keep? Okay, so KLM and OP.
What was the decision on this second set?
I don't think there were any that people disliked. Was there one you disliked, Paul?
I'm having difficulty finding what she would do in the library.
Yeah.
It's small, it's
Mhm.
more the kind of thing that would be nice in an office
Yeah.
than out for public display.
Yeah,
Which one?
G.
G.
It's
Yeah.
I can't quite tell what it,
Well,
is it a bone?
It is a hand
Well,
pencil drawing of a.
when David cuts the wasp nest in half. We can see
That's
the
right.
inside of it.
There's a YouTube video.
Yeah, I'm a little bit with you, Paul. I wasn't,
Sure to invite you.
I don't know
I
how
agree.
it fits.
Yeah. No, I agree. It does not quite fit the
The feel of
the
the
feel
other
of the other art. I agree. I put a question mark by it.
Okay.
We'll come back to
But it is also small enough to go
it
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it could go on the piece right there.
yes. There's lots of,
It'd be just
it could go by nonfiction. Yeah,
how,
yeah. I'm sure. Yes.
not what we're
The
discussing.
health section. Yeah. Okay. KLMNOP.
what year was in?
The year that the award was won?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that feels like in your office in the back
Yeah.
kind of a place. Not to be like, I don't want that, but that feels like a thing that should go. No, I'm just saying, like, if it goes back on the wall, it should go back by the people that,
Earned
The
it.
publicly related.
yeah. What do we know about the white swan? Other than it's a white swan.
That was some store bought.
That's, yes, it looks like a print.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't see that it fits very well.
No.
Maybe,
do like
maybe
the
if
boy
it was
with
a
the
Canada
laptop,
Goose, it might.
Yeah, but we're goose.
I mean, the colors in it are nice, but
Oh, yes,
Or
if it was a
geese.
goose attacking a small child. Then it could go on the wall. Speaking as someone who's had a small child attacked by a goose. Out there. Okay.
I think on these two pages, K is the strongest.
Agree.
Just
Yeah.
for the library.
Yeah,
Yes.
like in the young adult area. the
It's a really
children's
good
area.
size.
Yes.
It's really, it looks nice.
Mhm. I like K. I don't see a place for the hyacinths and
Yeah.
it would need to be framed.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit with you on that one.
And I don't, the other two, I don't see where they fit and this one is very small. Although it could be cool in here on like over there.
Are you talking about P?
P. But it is a donation, yes. It's just small. It's more matting than art.
is there a place?
Oh, and it's not
Where
framed.
awards and so on might be collected together?
There's not currently. There could potentially be, but as far as I've seen since I've been here, this is the only award that's not in statute form. Not in the statute.
The PR award,
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, if you want to keep it, put it in the staff room for yourselves, then that's what I would say, but otherwise, O and P are questions for me, I would say. Anybody, more thoughts?
They're
Yeah.
both very small.
Mhm.
I mean, 12 by 11 and a half by 12 and a half still
Yeah.
isn't quite big enough. for
It seems to me,
the
given
library.
the way the library is sized and laid out. Small is 24 by 36 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get under 20, I
Like the-
think it's gonna look really small.
Unless
Study
you
area.
Just had like a cluster.
unless you make like a gallery wall,
Yeah.
and then you could hang kind of some of these smaller ones together to make a big, but then you have to make sure that they all kind of go together,
Yeah.
and there's a wall that allows for that.
Mhm.
All right, last two, yeah, we'll do QRST. My thing about T is that is very cool, but we are not Carrollton.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know if we
Donate it.
donate it to and be like, hey, we found this in our library. I don't know.
Now, is that, okay,
Or give it to
The Southwood-
CFB.
is that Perry?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
really open. But-
Yeah, the,
I mean, they only
That one.
kept the very bottom side.
We
Is
give
that
it to the
something in
school
Perry would want?
district? Would the school
Or the
district
school
want it?
district might
I
want.
think that's what I would.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Is to
Donate it to CFB.
donate it to CFB.
Mhm. I really like the rest of these on this page. T was the only
Yeah.
one where I was like,
Yeah,
thank you. But the blue bonnets are really pretty and they do kind of match aesthetically the A. And then this cute, book open on the table.
Yeah.
Mhm.
what about the Q and R?
Oh, you want to go? That's what we're talking about, Q.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying.
Mhm. Yeah, Q and R, I like them both.
Blue bonds, there's blue bonds.
There's blue bonnets. Oh, yes, and there's more on U and V. Yeah. Okay, so before we get Q, R, S, T, and then I think we have all our thoughts on that, yes?
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
U,
Donate.
V, W, and X,
And why? Can we do why too?
yes.
Good.
I don't. X and Y, I just looked at them and said, why? I don't,
Everybody have an opportunity.
I know, I'm sorry. I just have very strong reactions,
Yeah.
visceral reactions to these two.
Very vocal.
Yeah, if Lone Star had a connection on it. And if there was something that. it's
Right.
Commemorative of some kind.
It kind of, it's just says it's a print on board framed, no glass.
Okay.
And then the same with the
Never mind.
sesquit, I don't even know.
Sesquicentennial.
Yeah, yeah.
I would agree if it's a no. They're both very busy and not really.
Not real.
We're doing
Library.
V and W feel redundant. One is larger than the other one,
Uh-huh.
but For the, they're the same,
Much different. The same picture.
same picture, same photographer.
Just sent 2 copies.
It's just
Yeah.
different lighting.
It is different lighting. One is a little brighter.
Or different developing.
I like W
Picture.
over V.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
It's the back of the library,
Oh, is
taken
it?
from like the other side of
Oh, I
the
see.
creek.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, if I was gonna choose one, I would agree with Zach that W is just like a little bit brighter. And then I like all these blue lights and trees. I'm just. a
I do
sucker.
like all.
So I also just, again, I like the, about the artist section.
Yes, there's some,
Like-
it's interesting.
It
Yeah.
ties it together to actually what they were painting, you know.
I love that this is from so long ago that there is no area code. It's just 7 digits.
Yeah.
But they
For
have
the phone number.
redacted.
Oh, yeah.
We can make that plaque, but
Well, yes.
Yeah.
her address.
Oh, yes. No, we would probably want to take that last sentence off her address and phone number. It might not be.
Well, she did pass until 3.
Okay. Okay.
Why?
And then why we also said why.
So in doing the minutes, do you want just a ABC, A through Y comments that we had?
I think that's probably best, Zach. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could probably bucket them into a couple of different pieces to advance, to decline, or other, like the donation.
Okay, and then the statutes, at a previous board meeting, probably like 2 years ago, quite a while, we had had a discussion about these statutes with the intent to place statues 1 and 2 on the exterior of the library. However, there are some concerns from city staff that they will be vandalized, and they were in the library prior to the renovation. Like the boy in the chair used to sit next to the elevator. And so that to protect the art, it's probably best to put them back in the building somewhere versus outdoors, because they're having a hard time protecting the ones at the rec center from vandalism. Yes, Robert said it's been a really big problem.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
bad.
I would not have an issue with that, given that.
Mhm.
But as long as the display is not in the basement where they're currently,
Yeah,
then that's fine.
agree. I think these would be great. This one would be great at the books. The kid sitting on the bench would be great even at the bottom of the stairs right here, the landing. Yeah.
Landing, as long as it's not blocking the doorway.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, I don't know why he can't go back by the, I don't know. We can find places. That's another meeting, another time.
So suggestion would be to advance these 4 locations, just like.
Yes, I would agree with that. Because the intent originally was to put all 4 of these back, 1 and 2 outside and 3 and 4 just on top of shelving. In a place in the library that felt appropriate for their content. So unless somebody has a different opinion about anything.
I'm confused about S3, to be completely honest. I am not familiar with it. So.
Haven't gotten there yet. 1 and 2.
1 and 2?
Okay. I didn't know that this was a reproduction. When it was first brought out, it was like the idea was that it was like the original.
The original sold at Christie's auction house last year for $600,000.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't be
These
getting the
kinds of,
original.
these kinds of things
That's not.
are never unique.
The reproductions do still sell, original size reproductions still sell for.
Okay. It is interesting.
I think it's fantastic. I think it should go
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, I think, yeah, someplace near
Potentially
the,
under glass.
history or-
And for a, idea of the size of both of them, they are the 2 statues on the base of the little boy reading.
On S1. They're sitting next to him.
I just
Oh, okay.
I cannot physically pick them up.
So the bird is probably life size or close to it.
Yes, yeah,
Really?
probably pretty close to, I think it's supposed to be a road runner.
I was gonna say, the inventory person failed to tell us what the bird is.
Unknown bird. Probably a road runner
Mimi,
or a blue jay.
I'm not just gonna be.
Looks more road.
Contrarian, just for funsies. Anyway, okay.
So yeah, my suggestion would be both of these go out somewhere. As long as they can be secured to prevent that.
Agreed.
They're heavy enough that maybe
How heavy is it?
Well, they're metal.
they are
Okay.
very weighted.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot.
So maybe they're self-secured.
Can I make a recommendation about the art?
Yes.
It's not really exactly what we're talking about, but I totally agree with the historical information that we do have being made into plaques to put next to the art.
Mhm.
I also think it'd be super fun to have like a little scavenger hunt for kids where they could go around and see the art and get some information. Like a,
Yeah,
and whether they get a sticker when
like
they
a find
complete
and
it or
seek or
something.
whatever.
Like a find and seek around the library if
We
there's
have-
information. on it.
There's one that Justin had for a while, but it could be fun to add these things,
To add the
Yeah.
art.
add the art to it.
Particularly if there's relevant, like historical information to look for
Yes,
on a plaque. next to
agreed.
them.
During the time when you do the time,
That'll be in November.
oh, that's.
That's too close.
Mhm.
But next November.
It will be,
Next.
it will be in.
Yeah, because
But we
the
could
tiny
add
art
it
show
to
was a
the
big hit.
scavenger, hunt, the other.
Yeah, the one we did at Christmas.
I mean, a little bit.
Well, we're
If
gonna
we
talk
do
about
that.
In spring as well.
Yes.
So what happens next?
Okay, that is a great question. So I don't think we have on here that we are taking any action. We're just reviewing and discussing. So fearless secretary has, I'm sure, taken excellent copious notes. And if he needs assistance, I wrote on my papers. And we can have a meeting of the minds to go over it. So from here, what we'll do is we will kind of condense it down to what is it that we want to put back out. I think there was a question about the quilt. So if somebody has an idea of what it is, or if we can find a way to get assistance to get a picture of it, I think that would be helpful. I know, it's a big ask. Yeah.
It's a full-size quilt, like by 10 kind of thing.
No, like
It's
a
like,
wall.
it's a wall hanging.
It's just big.
It's a
Yeah.
text.
The size of the framing is on the.
It's on the
invitation.
page. It was Jay.
80.5 by 71.5.
Oh, that's still pretty good size.
Yeah.
And then there's, I believe there's about 6 to 10 inches of matting.
Yeah.
Around the.
I like the idea of a quilt being out for kids. I think a lot of like kids particularly don't really see a lot of quilts or know that things can still be made by hand.
We had a good
We do have
row
some
and.
Well, I mean, a quilt in general. but this
Oh,
is a
yes,
quilt made
yes, that's a good
Yeah.
point, Robert.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, I don't know where the wall is big enough unless you did it,
We can move the innovation sign. I don't know if that
Oh,
wall
yeah,
might
that'd
be
be
good.
perfect.
because there is that lady that does the sewing. Sewing happens in this place.
Yeah.
Yes,
Something that's-
yes,
Yeah, there's opportunity. right?
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah,
Let me see if we can get staff to maybe move where and get a picture maybe for the next meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think the way we'll take this forward is now we know what we want. And so, be thinking about where you would want these things to go. And that would be our next step, and that would be an action item.
This may be a weird, but we've talked about trying to do things with other boards. I wonder if we could get some of the artsy people
We could invite them. I can reach out.
with that placement
Yeah.
issue, because
Yeah.
I'm like, the one time I picked out fabric for a couch, it was the ugliest couch in the world. I just don't have an eye for that. And we had to live with it for years. I don't have a good eye for that. But I bet there are some. I just thought that might be
Yeah,
because we talked about wanting to do some cooperative things with the other boards.
that would be a great thing, especially because they are keeping an inventory of all the art that's in the city and putting it on they have a cleaning schedule.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
for maintaining all the art. And so it would be good for them to know like what's in here, where it is,
Mhm.
and what needs to
But they
happen.
might have a, like I
To
said. they
it.
might
Yeah,
have an eye.
I think that's a
Not
great
that
idea.
y'all don't. I just know I don't.
It's supposed to be. I reached out to them about putting it on there and the little book statues. When well, Natalie's not on the board anymore, but when Natalie was the head of the board, at one of our board chairs.
And then like with the boards, if we, like some of the stuff, even like if like a CFB doesn't want the Perry, but maybe the Historical Society, some of this other stuff that's made by people in the city
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't fit with us anymore, they might have use for it. And
You're talking about like the historical park?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good idea.
Because in some of their buildings, it might fit
Time period
time
wise, you're saying?
period and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, Paul?
Do you want to do anything before the next board meeting in terms of looking around the library?
I think that that's kind of like your homework is walk around, not
I'm
yours,
wondering.
but like all of ours. Homework is to, now that you know
Because
what we're wanting, think about where would you put it? Where would it fit appropriately with the other things that are happening? Just so we don't waste a lot of time wandering around the library.
also, if we did it in an off, if we did it in an off cycle, it would be considered a meeting. We would have to actually
We'd have to have
set
like an agenda and things. So individually walk
Individual.
around just then whenever you come in.
Or
to-
in less than quorum.
Yes, 3 or less people, you can come
I
in.
just appreciate the pictures and everything.
Mhm.
Thanks for
Yes, thank you
doing
very
the
much.
inventory.
Okay. Any other final thoughts on our questions, comments? All right. Then we'll move to C5, library director's report. Heather, take it away.
Yay. So you will see that there are 2 months worth, because last month we met a little early. I didn't have all our statistics in yet. I have July and August here. But I don't know how many of you had a chance to attend the Bubble Truck Adventure, but that was one of our well-attended outdoor programs. Yeah, well over 200 people attending to go play in the bubbles. But I did give you guys a summer reading report as well. And we were just a little bit ahead from last year, so we did gain in attendance. The entire summer, we brought in 4,225 program attendees for 2 months. So for an 8-week period, and that's the statistics you see at the bottom are people who turned in our challenge cards. So it's not for the entire month, that's all the people that came, but that is for our challenge cards, the people who actively participated in summer reading. So that was actually a very good turnout for people reading books and keeping up in the summer and not just letting that summer slide. So we had a very good turnout for our summer. And we did post that online as well, so we could share that information with the community. The front of the page on each one is going to show you like how many new cards we had that month, how many computer users, our physical checkouts. You will notice August was a little slower in our program attendance. That's because August is a planning, going back to school kind of month. We're trying to get back into the group with school and come down from summer reading. We also talked last time we met that we were having the blood drive. Partner did let us know it was very successful. They had 21 units of blood donated, and they are looking to come back. Blood drives here, yeah.
Good.
So I have also included on the highlight their August copy of our upcoming classes for this month, but also we just got a new database. And this new database does have the current edition of the Dallas Morning News. So today's edition is on there. It has up to 6 months worth of the current Dallas Morning News, New York Times, and USA Today, as well as all the top selling magazines in English, Spanish, Korean, quite a few of them as well. That is available. The other thing I wanted to bring up are our upcoming outreach events. So if any of you guys are interested in attending, you're more than welcome to, but what we have coming up is we'll be at the Farmers Branch Fire Station 3 open house that is coming up this month. We'll be at Haunted Houses In October, we're also doing trunk or treat at McLaughlin. And just this morning, we were invited to 2 more holiday events in October. We don't have those on. And then Santa and Cookies will be on the 18th of December. I'm sure some of you have been, you know, it is a crazy event.
Volunteer.
So if anyone would like to volunteer for that event, we are more than happy to have you.
I'll
And
do it again, but
for the
I
duties on the library.
I
board,
shouldn't put me in
typically
charge
for
of
Contribute.
guarding the cookies.
Yeah, Lee was
because
in charge of.
I let all the little chubby kids keep having cookies.
And I believe last year,
We ran out of
tried to
cookies.
organize.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at crafts either, so you gotta find a place. for it. That, you know what was, I'll just make a comment about that. That was a very uplifting event because it provided the photography opportunity for families that might not have been able to afford another venue, but it was so fun to see all the families dressed, even the dad in their pajama, you know, they'd come in their
Yes.
Christmas pajamas and it brought out the diversity of the community, the mixed race families, you know, all the different religions. And I mean, they didn't care. They wanted to see Santa, you know, it was very uplifting snapshot of the real farmers. It was fun to work, but maybe don't put me.
So the
I didn't need it.
The other question, because we are looking at our outreach, is will you be hosting the book drive this year? And so what is the process?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, well, that's, part of that is on our next agenda item. And then we can even push it to our next, like, meeting, it's future business to discuss. Does that sound good? All right, then we can go into what that is. All right. Any questions for Heather about anything you saw or she said? No? All right, so Robert, C6, the budget update for the next fiscal year.
Yeah, so I want to go ahead and just let everybody know about, council did have a special meeting on September 6th. Last Friday about some of the reductions that overall were being looked at. They decided that for the rec center, aquatic center, and the branch connection, the senior center, they wanted the hours put back. So those reductions were removed from so that funding will be put back in the budget. They did decide to go ahead and move forward with the reduction for the library, the 4 hours, and some of the material costs. So what the plan was prior to that last meeting was to try to roll out all the different hour changes in December 1st. So we'll stay on that pattern for the library as well, to give ample time for the community to let them know about the hours. We do already have out our fall activity guide, which has library information in it. That's where we have all our Parks and Rec and the information to the community that goes out. So because that was already out, we'll just go ahead and make the changes and make it known in the upcoming activity guide. And then that usually comes out. It's a December 1st publication, so we'll start putting that out early November. So, and then we can put information out prior to that. But that'll be kind of the reasoning for this transition. And then we are taking a new LSS contract with these changes with the budget approval next Tuesday, on the 17th. So the budget will be approved by council, and then also we'll approve an updated contract as well. So, and then, so those hour changes are basically just that Monday through Thursday, closing early at the 4 hour reduction. Saturday hours the same, Sunday hours the same, opening hours are all the same. So we're just removing that one end of the day off. So for this meeting, I don't know, we might have to make some adjustments to make sure we get I mean, unless we've got time built in to go over, we'll talk and see if we need to make adjustments there. Like I said, we won't worry about that until we meet in December.
We
No, we don't.
do not. Yeah.
So probably what we'll do is, since the new hours go in December, so January, it's probably a good time. We'll figure out if a time for the meeting needs to adjust.
Have a little bit.
We'll look at that, and we'll let you all know before the November meeting. We should know by then kind of how we're going to work that. So answer any questions you might have. That was the only thing that really affected the library. We did get some funding also back for the community garden as well, and for the we're going to have a Halloween funding as well for that event for next season for 2025. So which would really
For
be
Halloween in the park, right? That was the one.
it's
that-
Halloween in the park, but we'll probably rebrand it and kind of redo that event. But it'll be our fall festival type event. Which is great because now we'll have kind of 4 big events. So, we were really looking to do 3 large events next year. So we were going to do a multicultural 4th of July and the Christmas event. So we'll add this as a fall event. And so we'll have four large events. And so, and we'll have, and what helped too is this is the last year we're going to do the Bluegrass event in October. And so they're still going to have a Bluegrass event. It'll just be more of an inside event, and it'll be in the summer next year. So we won't have to worry about, that's a lot of, Bluegrass is it's an event that takes the whole department really to kind of put that one on.
Yeah.
And so we'll be able to focus a lot more attention on Halloween than the fall event. Now we have to do that. So I think that'll help. And I think that's and I'll say all the events, you were talking about outreach earlier, I think would be great events for the library. If for you as the board, if you want to participate. We have a Parks and Rec tent that we're trying to do at every event. So if there's things that we want to push for the library, I mean, I can get Heather, we can kind of work on maybe combining some efforts if there's giveaways and things for the library, or have their staff out there to help push anything. I mean, 4th of July, we had 8,000 people.
Mhm.
Multicultural, we probably had 3,000 or 4,000 people. Halloween and Christmas will have in those same numbers. So those are large community events that I think it would be appropriate for having the library out there to do some. So and it might be worth. You guys have a tent or anything like that kind of stuff for outreach? Okay, so we can definitely for some of those assist with some of that. So if there's any other questions on budget, to answer those.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. At the end of our last meeting, we're moving on to C7. Discuss and review library board outstanding action items. So this was a request of David's, if he just wanted to make sure that we were following through on all of these things, these future business items that we were saying at the end of the meeting, and then were we actually talking about them, and did we actually do anything about them, right? So I went through all of the agendas in my personal possession, which is like 3 or 4, like several years. And just kind of what was the future business item, and then what action did we take? And then and then Heather added this current status column. So here's this to review. And then I guess if you have a question about something or need more information or an idea.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on all the things that were accomplished,
Mhm.
particularly the crosswalk lighting, which we'll all be using at the conclusion of this meeting.
Yes. So. Which one?
So what does amendment needed mean in terms of current status?
So there's something in our bylaws that says we follow Robert's rules of order for our meetings, which everyone does, even at council they do. But I think because we also have to adhere to the Texas Open Meetings Act, they want to change that language. So that would be the amendment that is needed. And we're waiting, I think, waiting on the city to get back to us about, is that correct?
We need to create a suggested change, but also in the bylaws in our meeting time.
Yes,
So
we will have to, yeah, we'll have to make that change as well. Because then it has the operating procedures for the board. So we'll have to make an amendment anyway for the meeting time, and we can work that in, whatever the language is. I don't know, do we have the exact language that needs to be used for that?
I think we need to look up the language and then submit it.
Perfect. Any other things? Some of these we've done, I mean, we've handled tonight.
The book,
Mhm. In the parking lot.
does it have to have a name that's not pronounceable?
Oh, that's the one we,
That's,
Oh, no, the Joel Book
Drive.
Drive.
That comes from,
It's Icelandic for Christmas book flood.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's an official type.
it is,
It's an actual thing.
it's an actual festival. We did not make that up.
Okay.
Yeah,
there was no Scrabble board pulling.
No.
like-
yeah,
we,
And it's done around Christmas.
it is. Yeah, so
At
the
next
way-
meeting, can we do some
yes,
organization, and
Mhm.
yes,
if we're going to do it, and if so, what we need to do?
yes. Yep, that'll be on the next agenda.
Okay.
The removing fines is on current library agenda?
Let's say that, but
No,
Upcoming.
upcoming,
Upcoming, okay.
upcoming agenda. Yeah,
I forgot to.
yeah.
That's okay.
We talked to, yes.
thanks
we have to
for
gather data.
still remembering my little adult literacy.
Yeah.
My little project.
Well, but it's just, I went through, I mean, it was asked, what was all the future business? And
Mhm.
so,
No, I'm glad it's.
yeah, so I went
Still
through it all.
alive.
So.
And it is mostly a website like information. kind of thing.
What is your
at the
question?
clearinghouse.
Now, talking to myself,
So for minute purposes,
Yes,
what would you like written about these? Because there are several that are complete, and several that are pending and ongoing. Do you want a summary or what would you like?
we discussed
discuss them and
them.
we'll
Okay.
put on C7. I will be making a motion on C7 to continue discussing the do stuff.
Mhm.
Can I ask about the Spanish language story time?
Yeah. That was someone's suggestion, a board member who's not on the board anymore, who's rolled up. Suggested adding that, a Spanish language story time, and they were, at the director we had at the time said there's not really anyone on staff with the qualifications needed for that, and I think at the time, Emily, who had done all the children's story times anyways, was leaving. And then it was also not part of her kind of skill set. And so it was, if we were going to do that, then we needed a volunteer to run it. And the thing about volunteers is sometimes they leave and then people get attached to a program. And then the program vaporizes into the ether because there's nobody to keep it ongoing. So I think it would just be, that was kind of where that landed. But it's a very excellent idea. But you
So
just
when
need
did
some,
that, when was it on the business agenda? Remember?
at least probably 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Is there a staff member now?
Do not have any Spanish speaking children. I will say we are currently revamping our volunteer program. We started. We are in the process of it.
So, sorry, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, so none of our children's librarians speak Spanish.
We have one.
It's probably
Right,
But they are not
children's librarians, understood.
That's one to,
Yeah, I believe our
Keep
contract
alive.
specifies we have to have Spanish speaking staff.
Right.
not necessarily children's
No,
librarians.
we
that's-
have to have one person on staff at all times during open hours.
It's,
Okay.
Maybe that's helpful. I didn't know that. That's nice to know.
I see October 7th is the lower level stairs. That's exciting.
Yes.
Just a side note on that, we will be closing for that day.
The library will be closed October 2nd.
And that is for the maintenance. of the station.
Fantastic.
I'm excited. That's Robert. Robert got that done for.
And we're kind of piggybacking because they're doing some technical server change out.
Mhm.
So we were gonna have to close anyway. So we're just trying to take advantage of that. So,
No, makes sense. The schedule for after we come here.
Anything else? Has, for the book, have the most recent bookmark winners, have those been framed yet?
They're not up. I believe they've been trying.
When you do get them posted, maybe the others can be adjusted.
Yes, once we don't currently have a ladder in the building, so we cannot reach them.
Okay. That's interesting.
Facilities comes out and we do not have a way to do that.
Okay.
Nobody standing on shoulders.
I do not support
because I'm new, can someone explain which of these things are we, the board, supposed to be doing something about?
So anything that just has like no act, like we've not taken an action on it, and we would want to figure out. I think what I would say is looking at this, what are things that are actually important? Like at some point in time, something on here was important to somebody. But maybe what things that are on here are important to this current collection of somebodies? And what actions, what things are worth putting on C8, which is future agenda items? So obviously like Joel Bookaflot is one we probably need to discuss. Fine Free is on that list, and all the collection things are almost November.
I'm before the end of the year is our goal.
Right. So Fine Free is kind of part of the policy rewriting that's happening right now. So
Discuss and review, not take action.
no,
So-
discuss and review. So what we're doing is what are you seeing that you have a question about? A lot of these things are kind of done, but the question was, what were these items?
Yes.
What has happened? And so my initial thought was to just be like, I'll just put what hasn't been done. But I think it's important to go through all the events and see like where we have followed through and what still needs to be done. And then that would be C8 of future business.
Correct.
And some of these things we accomplished tonight-ish, right? Like the art, except it'll be, like art locations will be future business.
Can I ask about the local author series?
Yes.
So it says action taken is none, but the current status is the staff is working to plan an event in 2025.
So
no action was taken.
when
by
it
the
was
board.
by the board, but now staff is planning something.
Here when this was originally brought up. It is something the staff is working on creating up for years. So when I saw it was on here, hey, we are working. We
Yeah.
are getting.
Will
And
it
then,
be
like-
an event or a series, like
Um,
currently of one.
currently, it depends on how it plays out. What I would like to have happen is having a big event that has some lead up.
Okay.
So it may be 2 or 3 events that culminate in a exhibition. Maybe a local artist and local authors all come together to display what they have going on, talk about it. But details have to be figured out.
And then like the Did You Know library event, I think that was like there have been meetings where the director would be like, what could we do? What do you feel like people want? And that was one of the things that came up. And they've done some of those things now. There have been programs. There are ongoing, I mean, there's 3 question marks there now, but there are ongoing programs that have kind of addressed that issue. There's the database of the week in the weekly email. There's been events of like, or is it coming up?
Last week we had an
Yeah.
event that was a tour of the library, get to know your librarians, see
Mhm.
behind the scenes where our book order is, that.
That came from the lesser known things that the library does.
Right.
You go around the community in general, go to the grocery store. Hey, what does the Farmers Branch Mansfield Library offer? They probably get stumped after books and DVDs
And computers.
and computers.
Hmm.
Wouldn't even know about the innovation, know about the 3D printer, and all the other
Mhm.
things that people just don't know. It's a educational opportunity. But it's how that was presented.
And I feel like that has been addressed through library programming. That just naturally happens, that you did not even know that this was the thing, so.
I think there's an opportunity to expand that.
Well, that may just be, it was a business item and then he just started taking it and running with it. I don't know.
I think we also discussed at that time different ways we could publicize some of the stuff. Like when they have, you know, like the stakes that they put in for other events, like when they have that multicultural event. You know.
Yeah, like signs for
Signs
summer
for
reading,
reading
like
or-
when summer reading's going on. Like the signs that are out there for Firehouse Theater, or the, what is the summer music series that happens? That happens by the train station? What's that?
Oh, well, we had the Didn't Drive Live.
Yes, Didn't Drive By gets, you know, there's those, so something like that of like summer, you know.
Like if we did the.
Yeah.
Or the,
But
Yeah.
even things, my impression is even things like, did you know that you can check out a fishing pole?
Yes, you can check out a sewing machine. You can check out a mini 3D
Pickleball.
printer.
People do not know.
No. Did you know you could
It's-
come in
it's the
and use
library.
a Wi-Fi for free?
The library.
Mhm.
What is the list of?
Yeah.
What services are provided by the library that you just don't know exist?
So. And I don't know, as far as adjusting the meeting time, is that something that we as a board would need to discuss, or just the city says
I think we.
it is in our bylaws?
So
but-
I'm gonna do this with all the boards at the November meeting. Is I'd like us to go ahead and have the boards all approve their calendar for the next year.
Yes, please.
So what we can do is have that as an action item and
Okay.
then also adjust the time in November as well. That way we can kind of kill 2 birds, and we'll just have that as an action item for you to run that.
I didn't know if that was gonna be just like the city says, or if we, because I mean, like, it's 8:08 right now. So we would be keeping library staff late if we met without really trimming our meetings down of like, we are only gonna discuss.
Made it just. You just have to
Yeah.
adjust.
Yeah.
And set them.
All right, any other thoughts on C7? And then C8 is future business, so if there was anything you saw on this that we kind of haven't already mentioned about being future business,
Do we need to nominate things for future business?
I think anybody can just,
Nominating,
Say-
reducing the list.
yes, So I have so
Prioritizing.
far- Joel Abokaflod, because our next one will be October, so that's like 2 months out, we need to start doing something. Fine freeze, is that part of the policy, so that, or does it need to be its own?
There's a presentation that goes with that.
So do you want to do that next time or no?
Fine with presenting.
Or do you want to wait till
Which one was that?
the fine free, or do you want to wait till November? I don't remember what we said.
Um,
For review.
We could do that before the end of the year, at least go through your presentation, let them, so either October, or November, you know, see, I mean, I'm fine.
Present to the board, allow for questions, comments,
Yeah.
any changes that may need to be made.
It's pretty much done. Heather did a great put a great presentation together. I think we'll be able to get a lot of questions and answered. And just to give you all on that particular subject, what the thought process is, the board that kind of less of a fine-free kind of policy or program, and then we'll kind of present it as to council, maybe a study session in early 2025, where they kind of bless it, so then we can go through and put it as part of the budget process.
Okay.
Because what the process would be is to just reduce that amount of funding that we have in fines, and then that would be for next year. So, and
I do have it in my notes from our meeting. So,
that's fine.
and then, unless you want to change it, and then we can also do that. And then the other thing is art location. So that's your homework.
Yeah.
Where do you want the things to go?
Good idea. Do that.
And then
You just bring them up.
when were you wanting to set the calendar dates in a new time in November, right?
Yeah, so we'll
Okay.
do that in November.
November.
And we do that.
Okay, perfect. Make myself a separate note for that. Was there anything else that anybody saw from this list?
Did we already do an October meeting schedule?
No, we will need to do that now too. Of when, typically it's the second Thursday. So that is
With election
the
season.
10th.
We're still good for the second.
Oh, we're still good for the second. Okay.
We will not,
I have it on my calendar. for The 10th, was we agree on that last time?
I just have a rolling
I did
record.
That's like the 10th.
I added it.
Oh, okay.
not.
Oh, okay.
Our voting starts on the 21st.
So we'll be fine. And then our November one is, that would be the 14th,
And that would be,
and that would be after the election. So, okay, so our next two meetings, what? Oh, yeah.
The election.
Really busy.
All right, so our next two meetings, if you want to get them on your calendar, are October 10th and November 14th.
And we do not meet in December.
And we do not meet in December and July. Because no one's here in July typically, and December is cuckoo enough. Without the added things. For the library in particular, you guys have a lot of fun things that go on in December, so. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the city in December, and people's lives, so.
One other item for the, well, no, it's no. It'll be for November agenda. We see about gathering volunteers from the board for the Christmas.
Yes, I'll make
That's
myself a mental note. I'll just make Santa, I'm just gonna write Santa. Who's gonna help Santa? All right, anything
Santa.
else? It's a fun event unless
It
you
is
have
really
to leave
fun.
because your kids start having a WWE Friday night fight match in the middle of the Santa and then you have to go home.
That's great.
I don't know anyone that's happened to, except myself. All right, anything else? All right, then we have hit item D, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
All right, David moved to adjourn.
I second.
Stay. Andrea second.
Just jump in.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? All right, it has, it passed, yeah, and we are done at 8:13.